The movie is set in a dystopian 2024, where the world is still suffering from the coronavirus. In fact, the virus has mutated and has transformed into a deadlier form, known as COVID-23. People have been staying indoors since 216 weeks, but despite this, the mortality rate has gotten up to 56%. Everyone is compelled to go through a daily virus test, which is conducted through an application. If someone fails, the sanitation department takes him forcefully to the quarantine zone, aka Q zone. People say that whosoever entered that zone never returned back. The whole country is going through a curfew and people are restricted from coming out of their houses. If they do not follow rules, they are shot on sight. The scene then shifts to a delivery boy, Nico, who is driving around on his bicycle, delivering the packages. He is roaming so freely as he is wearing a yellow armband, which denotes that he is immune to the disease. However, he can still transfer it to others. Nico works for a man named Lester, who runs a courier company that serves wealthy people. On the other hand, we are introduced to a wealthy woman, Piper Griffin, who lives in a lavish house with her husband, William, and daughter, Emma. Like any other kid affected by the lockdown, Emma is always alone and desires to have a friend. However, Piper refuses the request, mentioning that it is not safe for Emma, since she is suffering from an autoimmune disorder. Following this, the mother-daughter duo takes the virus test and passes it with flying colors. At the same time, Nico arrives at their door to deliver some packages. He passes the packages through a UV sanitation machine and in turn receives a generous tip from Piper. After delivering the packages, Nico returns home and talks to his girlfriend, Sarah, who lives with her grandmother, Lita, in her apartment. Nico and Sarah have not met each other in person as Sarah is forced to stay indoors and is bound to take care of her grandmother. Here, we get to know that Nico is actually saving up to buy a yellow immunity band illegally for Sarah and get out of the city to live a life of their own. Although buying such bands illegally is considered a punishable offense, Nico is willing to risk it all for the love of his life. In the next scene, we are introduced to a famous female singer, May, who is doing one of her live sessions. As she is taking song requests from her fans, a disabled war veteran, Michael Dozer, who also happens to work for Lester as a drone operator, tips her $100 and messages her. He mentions that her songs helped him during his time in the war. This touches May, and she sings a motivational song for him. After the session, May calls Dozer and inquires about his war experiences. As Dozer explains everything in detail, the two develop a special bond between them. On the other hand, Nico visits Sarah's apartment and delivers her a packet of pencils as she loves to sketch. He also gives her a letter where he has written a funny poem for her. Later at night, while Sarah and Nico are video chatting on their phones, Lita approaches Sarah and informs her that she is feeling sick. Expectedly, she becomes scared, but Nico assures her that he will arrive there soon. Just then, the sanitation department knocks at her door. Outside, the head of the sanitation department, Harland, finds a man who has escaped from the Q zone and stabs him to death. As Sarah prepares for the worst, Harland arrives outside the door and tells his men that they have come to the wrong door. Following this, the crew enters a nearby apartment and forcefully drags a patient out to the Q zone. At the same time, Nico takes out his motorbike and rushes to Sarah's apartment. After arriving, he consoles Sarah by mentioning that everything will be fine. However, she requests him to go back, as they might get into trouble if they are caught. Despite this, Nico insists on keeping an eye on Sarah from outside the door. When she finally agrees, the two spend the whole night talking about their special moments. On the other hand, Piper's husband, William, is preparing to leave the house, late at night. As he approaches the door, he surprisingly faces his wife and he asks him where he is going. William says there is a meeting, but Piper is skeptical about this. Nevertheless, she let go of him, but she had to tell him to burn her clothes before entering the house. In the next scene, William arrives at May's apartment and the two have fun together. After happy hour, William returns home and, at the suggestion of his wife, burns his clothes before entering the house. The next day, while Nico is still sleeping on the porch, Sarah goes to Lita for their regular virus checkup. At first, she gets herself checked and comes out clean, free of virus. But unfortunately, when she does a scan on Lita, the application detects some virus and suggests Lita be taken to the quarantine zone. Nico finds out about this and tries to convince Sarah to escape with him. However, Sarah refuses her request and she tells him that she cannot leave Rita and walk away in this state. She also tells him that this may be their last meeting, as hygiene forces will arrive soon. Nico heard all this and was devastated, but still doesn't want to give up. He tells Sarah that he still gets an immunity card and leaves the building. Then he calls Lester and asks him if he can get 2 immune cards for Sarah and her grandmother. Lester doesn't have a passport, but he tells him he knows who can get a passport. He then tells Nico about the Griffin family, the town's exempt pass vendors. In the next scene, Nico arrives at the Griffin mansion and tells William about the pass. Upon hearing this, the Griffins were shocked and wondered how the commoners knew their secrets. They tell Nico that they do not deal in illegal things like that, but he starts begging. With no options left, Piper tells Nico that he's out of tapes, but he knows someone who keeps them in abundance. Then she gives him an address and tells him to get there as soon as possible. In the next scene, Nico arrives at the given address and enters an abandoned building to meet the dealer. While he is roaming around the place, he is greeted by Harland, disguised as an immunity band contractor. He tries to extract information about the girl for whom Nico is trying to get the immunity band. With Harland continuously asking for some personal information about the girl, Nico gets suspicious and halts from providing him with further information. This enrages Harland and he stabs Nico with a pocket knife, but the latter hits him back and somehow manages to escape from the place. Elsewhere, as Sarah goes to check on Lita, she finds her dead. Devastated, she immediately calls Nico and briefs him about the situation. With time running out, Nico dresses his wounds and suggests Sarah to hide somewhere when the sanitation department arrives to take Lita's body away. On the other hand, May is talking with Dozer and telling him everything about Griffin and his illegal immunity band business. She also tells him that Griffin is using her to fulfill his desires and that she can no longer tolerate him. Hearing this, Dozer suggests she be bold and confront the guy rather than being suppressed by him. In the meantime, May gets a message from William, mentioning that he wants to meet her again at night. This time, May declines his request and tells him that everything between them is over. Seeing the messages, William becomes mad and immediately calls May. He berates her for being an immoral person, but May counters by blackmailing to reveal his illicit business if he doesn't stop calling her. She then cuts the call short, leaving William worried and stressed. Surprisingly, the entire conversation between the duo is heard by Piper. In the next scene, as William comes out of his room, he is confronted by Piper. She points a gun at him and mentions that she already knows about his affair. Piper then kicks her husband out of the house, as it is the only way to keep their daughter safe. After William leaves, Piper calls May to warn her about William arriving at her place to attack her. Terrified, May immediately calls Dozer and asks him if she can come over to his place and stay. Without thinking twice, Dozer accepts to help her and lets her stay at his place. Meanwhile, the sanitation department arrives outside Sarah's apartment. When the staff starts searching for Sarah inside the house, she hides in the bathroom and picks up a baseball bat. Harland is also among the group, and he continuously asks her to reveal herself. Right then, Sarah attacks one of the staff and knocks him unconscious. She then wears his hazmat suit and walks out of the building, without being recognized. In the following scene, an enraged Nico breaks into the Griffin residence and starts searching for the immunity bracelets. Lester is shocked to see Nico's current location through his GPS, so he calls Piper and informs her about the situation. Scared, Piper takes her daughter, Emma, to the bathroom and prepares to face Nico with a gun. Moments later, Nico is confronted by an armed Piper, who threatens him to leave. Nico tells her that he is not there to expose their business but to find help for his love. Hearing this, Piper puts her gun down and takes out a briefcase, which contains several immunity bands. She then opens her laptop and programs a bracelet, before handing it to Nico. With his mission finally accomplished, Nico thanks Piper and rushes out of the building to meet Sarah. The scene then shifts to May, who is packing her belongings to leave the place before William arrives there. Dozer also takes out his military drone and flies it towards May's location. Meanwhile, May puts her belongings inside her car and tries to start it, but fails. Just then, William arrives there and threatens her to get out of the car. When she does not comply, he breaks the car door and grabs her by her neck. Luckily, Dozer manages to locate the duo and using his sniping skills, he shoots William dead with the drone and saves May. Meanwhile, Sarah, who tried to escape wearing the hazmat suit, is captured by Harland and his crew. Although she is yet to develop any symptoms of coronavirus, she is forced to go to the Q-zone. After some time, Nico arrives at Sarah's apartment and becomes worried after not finding her around. Surprisingly, he is confronted by Harland, who was waiting there for his arrival. He tries to attack Nico again with his pocket knife, but this time, Nico picks up Sarah's sketch pencil and stabs him on his neck. Harland loses a lot of blood and dies on the spot. While leaving the apartment, Nico comes upon Sarah's mobile phone and finds a picture of the sanitation department vehicle in which she is being transported to the Q-zone. He then immediately calls Lester and asks him to locate the vehicle. In turn, Lester calls Dozer and urges him to find the vehicle. With Lester and Dozer connected to him on his mobile phone, Nico takes out his bike and drives around the place. After some time, Dozer spots the sanitation vehicle and informs Nico about the location. Desperate to save Sarah, Nico speeds up to the place and manages to arrive there before Sarah is taken inside the Q-zone. The police officers try to stop Nico, but he somehow manages to come near Sarah and secretly hand her the yellow immunity bracelet. Following this, the officers apprehend Nico, but when they notice the yellow armbands on the duo, they decide to scan them. After a thorough checkup, both Nico and Sarah are found to be immune, and hence, they are released. In the next scene, the couple finally embrace each other for the first time in their lives. Just then, Sarah reveals that she is also immune like him. She also mentions that the only reason she didn't get out of her apartment was because she feared for her grandmother's life. Although Nico is shocked, he understands her situation and forgives her. In the final scene of the movie, Piper and May team up and frame William and Harland as the ones behind the illegal wristband sales. Dozer and May start dating virtually, while Nico and Sarah are traveling up the Pacific Coast Highway. The movie ends with Lester receiving an immunity bracelet, sent to him by Nico as a gift for helping him out in the toughest times. Subscribe the channel for more videos like this, turn on the notification bell and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.